Assalamu Alaikum, dear viewers. Welcome back to our channel, where you can watch videos to improve your iman and learn about Islamic ideas and stories you may not have known about. The elves are just charming. Those adorable tiny critters that volunteer to help Santa Claus wrap gifts for all the kids. Not only do they choose the gifts for the children, but they also carefully wrap them using high-quality, cute wrapping papers. Our children are watched over constantly by those small-eared beings who reside in the North Pole. They're truly nothing but angels. Do you feel the same way about elves? Do you think elves are innocent creatures? I mean, they are undoubtedly fictional, however, isn't there something delightful about allowing children to admire and fantasize about them? If that is so, then today's video is going to make you change yours, as well as your child's perception forever. So without further delay, let's get into our today's video, which will reveal the truth about those tiny, helpful Christmas elves. Norse mythology and Germanic folklore are the sources of elves' origin. In Norse mythology, there were essentially two categories of elves: dark elves and light elves. The dark elves were reputed to reside underground, be wicked, and be unattractive. Originally, elves were spirits in Germanic folklore, however, they evolved into tiny entities frequently resembling miniature humans. They were occasionally linked to violence and mischief, and it was believed that they were responsible for the transmission of diseases to both humans and cattle. All things considered, it indicates that the elves were minor figures in ancient folklore who, rather than being kind, endearing, and helpful, were first described and conceived as a source of human suffering. Which means that the origin of these creatures in itself is not at all a pleasant and lovely one. A frightening trait of the elves, which is lauded by parents of young kids, is their constant surveillance of the children. Parents often tell their kids that they need to behave because the elves are always keeping an eye on them, and they are the ones who let Santa Claus know if a child has been naughty or nice throughout the year. It is quite astonishing that the parents remain ignorant of the significant missteps they are making regarding their children's mental development. It is neither the elves nor Santa Claus who vigilantly observes our children. Rather, it is solely Allah who watches over the children and each one of us. For Christian parents, instilling fear of elves as a means of correcting a child's behavior is too illogical. A child ought to adjust their conduct out of a sense of accountability to God rather than in response to tiny mythical beings. As said before, the concept that elves are observing every second of your children simply to determine what gift he receives is not at all a pleasant and joyful thing. Rather, it is a very frightening one. Parents should stop allowing their children to be fed this garbage into their heads. This next argument will be easier to understand if you've seen our prior episode, in which we reveal the truth about Santa Claus. That he is anything other than a devil who seeks to divert your child from following Allah's path and into the clutches of hell. As depicted in several movies and fictional stories, Santa Claus never works alone, and these small elves are always assisting him with gifts and other items that they select and wrap for children. And as we demonstrated in our last video, Santa is none other than Satan himself. Therefore, those elves are clearly Satan's army, and their goal is to make Satan's work of trapping youngsters easier. The concept that elves vigilantly observe children is accurate, but in a frightening manner. The elves represent the forces of wickedness, perpetually attached to children and monitoring their every action to lure them into misguided choices at any given moment. They actually report to Satan about children's daily activities and how they were effective in making the youngster fall into sin, defy their parents, engage in substance misuse for the first time, lie and steal, and so on. These are Satan's forces which we and our children are unable to see, but they keep a close watch upon us, and unfortunately, in today's time, we have glorified such evil beings as being charming and adorable. The army of Satan is now perceived as elves who love children, and the Satan himself is perceived as Santa Claus who sends gifts to children. And the worst part is that the parents themselves instill in the minds of their own kids such fantasy worlds of Santa Claus and the elves. The fault is not entirely theirs. In the age of movies and theaters, such ideas are being fed into the minds of kids as well as adults. Numerous movies are made about elves where it is shown that they are harmless little creatures that are friendly and lovable towards kids. The primary instrument of Satan in contemporary society is technology and entertainment. Through the normalization and reiteration of the concept of Santa Claus and his elves as loving entities, Satan seeks to corrupt the child's cognition, fostering the belief that God does not exist and that the sole caregivers and providers are Santa Claus and his elves. Certain scholars claim that there exists a resemblance between the narratives of elves and Yajuj Majuj. It is asserted that elves inhabit the North Pole. Certain researchers propose that this location serves as the confinement for the Yajuj and Majuj tribes. The elves are countless, a characteristic that also applies to Yajuj and Majuj, as it is understood that upon their release, they will emerge in vast multitudes. Although this remains speculative, the possibility of the elves being Yajuj Majuj cannot be entirely dismissed. This further clarifies a significant point. If elves have similarities to Yajuj and Majuj, they are certainly not friendly. Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala says in the Holy Quran, Ya bani Adama, la yaftinannakum shaytanu kama akhraja abawaykum min al-jannati yanzi'u anhuma libasahuma liyuriyahuma sawatihima innahu yurakum huwa wa kabiluhu min haythu la tarawnahum inna ja'alna ash-shayatina awliya'a lillazina la yu'minun. O children of Adam, do not let Satan deceive you, as he tempted your parents out of paradise and caused their cover to be removed in order to expose their nakedness. Surely he and his soldiers watch you from where you cannot see them. We have made the devils allies of those who disbelieve. Around us constantly, Satan and his army are seeking a chance to lead us towards hellfire. As parents or members of this ummah, we must make sure we prevent our children from falling into Satan's trap, but also avoid being swayed by such ideas and individuals that on the surface seem to be quite attractive and charming, but on the inside will be evil and detrimental for our faith. May Allah save us and our children against the armies of Satan. Ameen. That's all for today, dear viewers. We hope you found this video informative and engaging. Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Until next time, Assalamu Alaikum.